We're back on the XF52 podcast, presented as always by Jimmy's Famous Seafood. It is Monday, July 14th. My name is Jake Louque. Just had a big old storm surge come through here.
That never happens. That's weird.
It's not, that happens every single day. Who was on top of that story? This guy. Joined by my guy, Arditti. How we doing, pal?
I am soaking wet. I just got Chick-fil-A. And I'm not waiting in the drive-thru, so I walked my ass in there. I'm good. I'm excited for the home run derby tonight. I was hoping O'Hearn would sneak in there. I tried to kind of bait him into that in the if you listen to the podcast. He had no idea what I was talking about when I asked him which of the Triple Crown races was his favorite.
That and the catcher question, I think he was kind of like, maybe, I don't know. And then he was like, oh, it kind of, you could see it clocking to him, as Justin Bieber would say, kind of in real time there. So
Yeah. I'm good. I'm excited for the All-Star game. It'll be cool to see O'Hearn in there. The Derby Derby's great. I love the Derby, except when Gunnar lays an egg. But
it's been a lot of fun, like the last 5 years or so. Obviously, we've had we did the one. What was that, like 4 years ago? One of the first couple times we hung out.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like that was the Trey one, and then there was, it's just been fun since then. The Adley one was awesome. The Gunnar one, not so much, but it was cool to have him there. And it was a good event overall. So yeah, I'm excited for it too.
Yeah, but no, again, I was at the ballpark yesterday. That may have been one of the worst games I have ever been to, but a lot has happened since we last talked. The series win over the Mets, the Bryan Baker trade, the draft. A lot has happened in like 4 or 5 days. So it's the baseball things are happening. Baseball is baseballing, I think, as the kids say, the whippersnappers. But
do they say that?
I don't know. They say like, oh, this is this-ining, like Jake is Jakening.
Yeah, he's Jakening. Okay. Yeah, but I mean, you're right. So it has been a minute. I wasn't able to hop on this past one. So yeah, I mean, essentially we are here to effectively kind of talk about this past series against the Fish. The Miami Marlins. Orioles kind of closed that one out in disappointing fashion after a big win in that first game. Then you have Trevor Rogers going out there and shoving in the second game. They wind up losing a low-scoring affair and then just absolutely get the doors blown out in that third game there. Just a real sour way to go into the All-Star break. And it just feels like we keep saying, every time they start building momentum towards possibly getting back to that 500 mark, they fall back down. Trying to pull up their exact record right now. They stand at 43-52. They were just like 6-7 games below 500 a few days ago. And yeah, it's a disappointing way to go into the break, but I don't know. I feel like I see other people saying it's like eventually they continue to tell us who they are, and it's on us to believe them or not. And at this point, I believe them. Like, they are just not a good, consistent baseball team that can consistently put together series wins. I think that's what it comes down to. I think on any given game, they could look like a team that is capable of winning the AL East. In any given game, they look like a team that probably, shouldn't, doesn't even really want to be out there. They just look like they don't have any interest or any will or anything like that. Overall, I mean, their record under Tony Mansolino, we've talked about it. It's good. I mean, it's, over 500. It feels like the overall sort of picture of what we would have expected this team to look like. The problem is they just dug themselves into such a big hole. You can't afford to slip up at all. So when you have a series like you just had against Miami, especially in a critical spot going into the All-Star break like this, they're going to stand out a lot more. Mm-hmm. And I think it really stands out going in, when you felt like you had an opportunity, and when, like you said, they shipped off Bryan Baker, they get a first-round pick back for that. Michael Elias had comments to the effect of they were not shopping him. It was not really looked at as a situation where like, oh, we're already starting to sell. It was more like they got a unique opportunity to get a first-round pick out of it. And so, yeah, I mean, looking even just at their first-round picks, they pick Ike Irish with their first pick at 19 there, but then at 30 and 31, I'm not exactly sure which Tampa pick it was, but they take Caden Bodine and Wahiwa Aloy. And then obviously I think was DeBrun technically still a first round pick as well?
It was, I don't know if he was technically. I know that the pick was 37 for Baker, which I believe that's a little slay. I think
Slater, so Slater DeBrun at 37. Yeah. So he's your little slay. The SoundCloud rapper. SoundCloud rappers are a thing of the past now. You can just get on Spotify very easily.
Yeah, as
evidenced by us. So Slater DeBrun is one of your picks there. So yeah, I mean, we can go into the series, we can go into the draft. So far, they've come away with Ike Irish, Caden Bodine, Wahiwa Aloy, Slater DeBrun, Joseph DeZira as their first pick at pitcher there at 58 overall. JT Quinn, RJ Austin, Colin Yeaman, and that's through round 4. So yeah, draft is another thing that I've kind of come to enjoy following. I made a much more conscious effort to do it during the Elias era. It felt like a bit more of a throwaway prior to him, when it felt like they would bring in GMs who wanted to try and do their best to build a major league roster, but even that, like, they weren't really given the full resources. So it's just kind of the overall experience of being an Orioles fan there. Draft was fun to follow. I feel like the Derby's going to be fun to follow. Excited to watch Ryan O'Hearn in the All-Star game on Wednesday night, I believe.
Tuesday night, I think. I think it's Tuesday.
So tomorrow night then. And yeah, I'm just kind of at that spot right now where it's like, yeah, it sucked that they lost in that fashion they did to the Marlins, and it sucks to lose that series overall. But I'm just kind of more and more like, I feel like we've both in different ways said this, you know, quote unquote, being at peace with the fact that this is probably not going to be a playoff team. I feel like very authentically at that place right now. And I'm kind of just excited to see how things are going to play out from here.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, again, I was there. I went to the second game, the night game of the Mets, the doubleheader where they ended up winning. I forget the score there. I think they kind of put it on them. And then I was at the game yesterday. But going back to that, I mean, again, when you're looking at the schedule and you're like, okay, we end the season with the Mets and the Marlins, you're hoping, okay, well, we'll probably win one of those series. We'll probably beat the Marlins. The Marlins had won like 11 in a row up until I think like 2 days before they came to Baltimore. But they were a Bryan Baker blow up away from sweeping the Mets. I mean, they were up 4-0. They were up 6-2 in the 8th inning.
Yeah,
and that well, I don't know what they call them now. The Fab Four. They have some nickname for the Mets, like their first 4 guys. And they killed Baker, and that lost them the game. But they swept the doubleheader on Thursday, after the rain out on Wednesday. And again, now this is where we were all like, all right, there we go. Like, we're gonna get this back. We're going to face a Marlins team coming in. Like, they can handle this team. And then when they won, they beat up on the Marlins Friday night. I mean, it was 5-2, but it was not that close to score. I mean, the Orioles had pounded them early and got runs early. I think they had like 2 runs on like 5 pitches or something like that. It was one of these like, all right, yeah, the O's, maybe they're feeling themselves again. And then Saturday and Sunday, it's just more of the same. And I talked to folks at the yard yesterday, and it was like, that the game on Saturday was maybe the most depressing loss of the year. And it's like, we've had, how many of those have we had? 10, 12 this year? It's like every loss.
I'm done labeling anything. Like, I'm done with putting labels on this. It has to be the most impressive or the craziest loss. This has to be the most impressive series win. Are they back? Are they this? Are they that? Are they dead? As certain columnists put out there. I don't know, man. Like, it's just like, why do we have to continue to like put words on like a season that is indescribable? Like, this is just like an indescribably weird, largely bad season that maybe you can chalk some of it up to bad luck. You can certainly chalk it up to some bad roster building, in my opinion. You can certainly chalk it up to some curious coaching, especially when Brandon Hyde was at the helm. And you can certainly chalk it up to players not playing up to their potential. And most of all, you can blame a lot of it on injuries. But I don't know. It just seems like there's still, and that's kind of the ebb and flow of baseball season. I get it. Just kind of the need to try to contextualize everything. It's just being a sports fan. But you're right. It's kind of like, I think that might have been why I was having fun with you last season with like the most forgettable series of the year kind of stuff. Like, now we're kind of seeing that manifest in a different way. It's just kind of like, at this point, man, I know it's only the middle of July, but I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I'm over it. I kind of just want to watch it like an empty vessel and just have no emotions. And of course, like I'm lying to myself with the thought that I can do that, but I don't know. Maybe I'll give that a shot and see how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It was, again, I did kind of the same thing. And again, the game yesterday that I went to, I took my sister and JoJo, but it was, I mean, you know, watching Stowers hit the home runs and 5.
Yeah, we should probably mention that. I feel like maybe buried the lead there. Kyle Stowers, 3 home runs, 5 hits in his return to Camden Yards.
Good for him. Like, I'm very happy for him, because somebody was like, I hope Elias is happy. It was like, well, I think he's happy watching Trevor Rogers absolutely shove for, the 5 starts now. I mean, Rogers was awesome. This seems like a very rare, like, this is a win-win trade, it seems like. And obviously I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. I don't think Stowers was going to play here, and they were going to try and ship him off wherever. And I'm happy that he's finding a spot where he can play. And it was funny because, they were up, it was 7-0 in like the 4th or the 5th inning and the game was over. And when he's coming up to bat for like his 4th at bat, people are like, he has to hit a home run here. Like everyone was rooting it on. Everybody was. So it was a good time. It was not a good time, but it was fun watching. It was cool watching Stowers do that. But yeah, man, again, it just circles right back to, they can't sustain momentum. They have it in the, like Aaron Boone says, it's right in front of them and they just fucking fumble it right away. And that's a series that they have to win. If they're, like I said, Friday night, you're thinking, oh, this is a sweep. They're going to win 5 out of 6 going into the break, get a little bit momentum. And then right out of the break, you play Tampa and Cleveland, 2 teams that are in front of you in the playoff chase, being like, this is a real spot to carve something out. And now it's kind of like, all right, well, like we said, we know what this team is. We've known what this team is for a while. Yes, they're playing better with the guys coming back from injury. Colton has helped. I mean, Westberg, what can you say about him? He's been awesome since he came back. It's just, it's JoJo. It's Too Little Too Late. Fantastic song. Great song. But and you talked about it, the hole they dug themselves in,
they're still dealing with the injuries too. I mean, you've got, was it Alex Jackson catching for Brandon Young? I mean,
yeah, I think so. I think it was Jackson. Yeah, because Stallings was sat that day.
Yeah. Jacob Stallings was hurt, so he had to get the backup catcher in there. That's where we're at with this season with injuries.
No, Stallings I don't think Stallings is hurt, right?
Well, not hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they had to give their 5th string catcher a day off.
In what world would you have thought we'd be sitting here in July talking about Jacob Stallings couldn't go today, so we had to turn to Alex Jackson? I don't think anyone even knew those names as an Orioles fan coming into the season. So
Alex Jackson could walk in my house right now and punch me in the face, and I wouldn't know who he is.
Yeah,
I'd be like, I don't know who this guy is.
Right, that's what I'm talking about. You got like Tyler O'Neill, still coming off of injury, really struggling to find his footing, if he ever even had it to begin with. He's been looking like a pretty severe bust of a signing. So you can chalk that one up both to injury and also to extremely poor roster building, because you gave him a pretty bad contract, it's looking like, that is going to be picked up by his side. And bad roster building because it was a risk to begin with the injury history that he had. So here we are. You've got him. You've got Kobe Mayo not playing in favor of him, because you've got to try and make that contract make some iota of sense. We'll see if that happens. I don't know, man. It's just like they're still in a bad spot injury wise, and Adley is still out, like we mentioned with the catcher and, all this kind of stuff. It's just, they've still not fully recovered from it, either in a in-play perspective on the diamond or just with the injuries in general. They're still very much dealing with a lot of it, not to make any excuses or anything, but it just kind of feels like an explanation, a sort of, I don't know, screed to be dug onto the tombstone of this season, which looks like it's coming into view much earlier than we would have expected.
Yeah, and again, I mean, every team, we've talked about it, but there's no excuse. You can't use the injuries as an excuse, but I think it's a very valid point that this team had played like they played, just because of the amount of guys who were hurt. And again, I don't even know if we've talked since Gary was going to be out for 8 to 12. It's a big time, like when it rains, it pours. This is just how it goes. And the Ravens had it. What was that year? 22, I think.
They've had a couple of them, but yeah, 21 was probably the most recent really bad one.
Yeah, and again, it's just, you kind of just have to throw your hands up and say, I don't know. There's nothing you can do. It's where they're like 90 some games in, So what do they got? 70 some left, and it's like, all right, well, now we kind of just have to eat it. And this is why, I mean, people have been focused on the draft, saying it's very important. It's going to be the off season, and they have picked a couple pitchers, college pitchers. So who knows when they're going to see those guys? I wouldn't think that it's anything next year. But you gotta, we've said it before, but this offseason is the biggest one by far in team history. Elias has to nail the draft, the offseason, has to nail the hiring manager. He has to do it all. So this is a very, very big offseason, and the draft is kind of that start of like the offseason. It's so baseball to have the draft on a Sunday evening while games are going on, and then they start the second day, not the second round, but the second day at 11:30 on a Monday morning. There's no baseball today. Just do it all today. Do it leading up to the home run derby. I I'll never get it. But Manfred was too busy having McAfee up there and cut off sleeves.
Really epic. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Real quick too, this one, I know it costs a lot thought to do. No, they're not gonna.
They're not.
No. That's not a thing. This is not a thing either. Elias on the hot seat. It's crazy talk.
You're very staunch about this. I am not as staunch as you.
I don't think he is on the hot seat. I think after next year, if this repeats and they don't do anything in the offseason.
Well, there's a lot of pressure right now, because if you're talking about having to go out in free agency and try to attract guys, which you've already struggled with, and you haven't re-signed any of this young core to begin with, you're talking about having to make really enticing offers to guys when you got shunted and really just moonwalked over by Corbin Burns in and after free agency with some of the comments that he's made. What does Scott Boras think of you? What are these agents talking to Scott Boras about? What do they think? Like Tyler O'Neill, I'm sure he's probably pretty happy the way that things are going to turn out for him. But overall, that doesn't look great as a signing. It doesn't look super savvy. So that's not great. And then man, you once had this war chest where, hey, if you wanted to go out and swing a trade for a guy who, maybe free agency isn't going to be your thing, maybe you go trade for a big name, a la like a Garrett Crochet. You don't really have that right now. You could trade Samuel Basayo if you would like to, but with Adley Rutschman status, that's a little weird. And then, you just drafted all these guys, but hey, it's a day after the draft. They don't really have any value right now. They're just kind of an idea. We haven't even seen them in the minors. So not really a ton to work with from a trade capital perspective, unless you would be willing to move on from one of these core guys. And that would be kind of a weird move as well. So the deck is kind of stacked against him. And I'm with you that I don't think it would happen this offseason. I wouldn't really mind it if it did. It feels like maybe a natural kind of stopping point, in my opinion, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Because then I think then you tear it all down. Because then then you're sending a message to the team that okay, this isn't working and we have to figure something. I don't think hot seat is the right word for that. He definitely has work. He definitely has work to do, but
it could be. But I think where one thing we've talked about that I think you actually might even agree with a little bit is I just feel like he's said some of the right things. He's even said some of the wrong things. And then through his actions, he is tacitly at times not showing confidence in this core group of players. And I think that really does work against you when you're trying to get them to the negotiating table. And if they were to bring in a new regime and say, hey, I'm David Rubenstein, I'm the owner, I'm bringing in my own guy and I'm telling him, you guys are my priority and we're going to sign you. I feel like that would send a message. And whether I'm sure, it's a polarized discussion and I'm sure Mike would love to have all these guys re-signed in a perfect world and this, that, and the other. But the perception is working against him right now. And I think the clock is ticking and the deck is stacked, like I said, not in his favor.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're all spot on there. I'm not. And again, I think the people who are he needs to be fired right now, I think that is just a blatant overreaction. I think that is the football mindset where something has to change right now because the last 5 months have gone bad. That's what it comes down to. So
yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't know that would necessarily.
There's an age thing too, where I think if you're above a certain age and you have seen 14 years of baseball, that doesn't matter in Baltimore. You're not losing your mind after, this season sucks. Don't get me wrong, this is awful, but I'm not.
That also
you're not getting rid of Elias just because you've had a bad 5 months.
Yeah, that's true. That there also is an impatience though of hey man, what the hell? This was supposed to be it. This was supposed to be several years of playoffs in a row. This was supposed to be liftoff, all that. I've waited, almost 30 years of life in my case. And that's where I'm sort of just a little bit of the frustration is how did we let this happen? Why did we willingly walk into a season with Charlie Morton as a starting pitcher on the staff? Why have we not extended any of these guys? That's where some of my questions are coming from. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I mean, that'll be the big winter meetings and off-season talk and it takes two to tango, blah, 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 yada, 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 all the Borisisms and things like that. But I don't know. Well, again, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, we got Travis Holland here. Is there a world where he tries to trade Gunnar, Adley, or Jackson? Because I don't think I could handle that. I don't really see it because I think Gunnar and Jackson.
Trade one of them, they should just trade them all. That's the thing. Then
exactly.
Reload everything.
Yeah, it would be weird to try to get one of those guys. Gunnar is already been an MVP candidate. Adley has already proved himself to be a MLB caliber starting player. Jackson is proving to be a superstar, I think, as the days go by here. And it's weird because Gunnar, shit, man, you could get a lot for him, but it's like, what would be the value of like trading him for 1-for-1? And Jackson, like he's an ascending property. I think he's more valuable on your team than off it, like especially when you get into the controllable years, Sig's favorite term. And then Adley, man, I just think his like value is too low right now anyway. Like it's not even worth shipping him off. It's worth more trying to like rebuild him as a project rather than like just ship him off at his low point. I know you do like to sell your stocks at the low point and then buy them at the high point because you believe in them, but
yeah, you know me, get out ahead of it. No, I don't think they're gonna do any of that. Again, it's way I'm not they wouldn't. Well, I'm not diving into it. You know what direction is on the you know what is on the tip of my tongue, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to get triggered on a Monday night. I'm not going to do it. So yeah, but again, very disappointing way to end the. We're just going to circle right back around. Super disappointing way to end the first half, but Mets series was fun until it wasn't, and then Bryan Baker gets shipped off. I did see someone on Twitter who was like, I think the Orioles are sending a message, and if you mess up and you play bad, they're going to trade you. And they were like, look at Baker. And I was like, that's not what happened. Like they didn't trade. The guy had a 2.58 ERA coming into the game. Like he had a bad outing. Mariano Rivera blew the World Series. Like
I think he had like a blow up against the Rays a couple weeks before too, hadn't he? Like,
maybe. I know he's been very good. He's been arguably their second best reliever. Like they're not gonna. Like Elias wasn't bending him over, spanking him, being like, "You're a bad boy. Now we have to get you out of here." I like he said, the Rays wanted. I guess they were really high on him, and they wanted him, and they wanted to make this happen now because obviously the draft pick, which, like you said, Lil Slay, I guess was like a consensus top 20 pick, and they got him at 37. So if you're into that, like Spenny's probably eating this up, like the value, because everything, and stop me if you've heard this before. The media loves this Orioles draft. Stop me if you've heard that before, which again,
they've nailed their drafts for the most part. Like you can't fault them there. So
well, and again, this is where it's like, yeah, on paper, it looks like they nailed the drafts. I didn't know who any of these guys were except the guy, Aloy or whatever.
Yeah.
And like that's why I don't like all these, like, I'm going to give you an instant reaction right now. Here's why it's a great pick, especially in baseball. In football, I feel like you may be able to do that. But how many times have you, oh, Matt Elam, what a value pick there. That's a great pick there in the back, in the back of the first round.
Well, football's like way easier to like these baseball guys. Nobody knows with baseball.
No, and again, it's going to be like, okay, well, we'll talk in 2029 because again, everyone in 2020 was excited about Kobe Mayo and Heston Kjerstad, and they were like, yeah, this Westburg guy may be all right, and look where we are now. So that's why it's like the people being like, how can you take this guy? He's a catcher. And
yeah, I mean, you're especially right about that because like in football, people get worked up. And even in that, like with all the information that is available, which is abundant in most cases with football, you still can't, it's still a crapshoot. Like with baseball, it is a complete crapshoot. So
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, again, I have zero thoughts on this draft. I am just reading what people are saying and it seems like they like it. But if there's any fan base out there who knows to like pump the brakes on celebrating, how good a draft is or how good these prospects are, it should be the Orioles. So, like I said, I knew nothing about Ike Irish. I didn't know who Ike Irish was until they picked him. And someone's going to do a Mike and Ike thing with him and Elias at the press conference. That's Jacob. Jacob Calvin Meyer will tweet that out. Mike and Ike.
Yeah. I'm going to go through the old Red Dead Redemption cutscenes and find Irish from that game. Just a great character.
So. I never played it, but
that's why you'd like that one. You'd get into that.
Yeah, I've heard it's good, but I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I don't even know when the draft ends. I don't know if it ends tonight or tomorrow or what. But like I said, it seems like they're stocking up on the guy from Arkansas. I know he won the Golden Spikes. It's the Heisman of college baseball. They got him. I think that was the 31st pick. But again, they drafted a lot of guys. They're loading up on pitchers, a lot of college pitchers too. So that's, what people were asking for. And it was funny because Elias going into it was like, there's a very high percentage. We take a pitcher with one of these top 4 picks and they didn't. And everyone's like, oh, here we go. This blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, let's just kind of time out. And then they got the guy, I think they got like a 6'8" guy from Michigan State.
I think that was Quinn, maybe.
Yeah. So they got a bunch of guys. I know Joe is pumped about How do you say his name? Aloy?
I think it's Aloy, but I could be wrong.
Joe, can you put the pronunciation guide for us in the chat? But yeah, he's awesome. That player I know, and I've watched him just in the tournament.
I've seen some Arkansas on TV.
He may have been the reason that Arkansas also lost. He kind of fumbled that game. Sorry again, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. But again, it seems like they're picking good guys. They're getting a good mix. They're getting pitchers in, but again, it's all fine and dandy, but you have to really go out and don't go there, Eric. You got to really go out and just, you got to make trades. You have to sign guys. If you can't sign them, you got to trade them. The Giants could not sign hitters. They couldn't get anyone to come to Oracle Park. What do? They trade for Rafi Devers. You have to get rid of these guys with controllable years. Sig, I know, controllable years. It doesn't matter. We're trying to win now. Like, the win, and again, the window is still open. Like, 2026 is right there. And look at what the Red Sox did. They went out and they added an ace and they signed Bregman and they made these other moves. The Orioles should be looking at that, being like, this is what we have to do. And they have the support from the owner, it seems. They have, the want from the fan base. And I talked to a guy yesterday who used to work for the team and he doesn't. And he said, bells and whistles are fun and the splash zone is great and the refillable sodas are awesome. But he said, if there's one thing I know, John Angelos knew, and he says he wasn't an Angelos fan, but he said I worked for him, and that guy knew that this city wants a winner and they want to win. And
it goes back to Peter, man. Like,
Peter wanted to win. People shit on him and will always crap on him, but that guy wanted to win a lot, and he wanted to win, bring winning back to Baltimore. And, Rubenstein has echoed that. And again, you have the people saying that I've seen today that Rubenstein needs to sell already because he's full of shit and actually doesn't care. They said he was just joking about buying the team. So, cause that's what billionaires do.
He had some comments recently that I thought were interesting where it might've been on one of his shows or on some sort of Bloomberg appearance or something like that, where it's like, he just kind of said what you typically want to hear from your billionaire owner, which is something to the effect of like, hey, look, it's my job to just hire the right people who know baseball because I don't know baseball, and get out of their way and give them what they need to accomplish their job, which, by the way, this isn't exactly how Steve Bisciotti operates, but he does say that that's what he does. And like, that's what you want to hear from your team's owner. Like that they're just, I'm just the bank and I'm here to give you any interest-free loan on anything you want. You just come in and sign on the dotted line, no catch, no strings attached. Like, that's what you want to hear. It's good to hear it. And it'd be nice to see somebody start to execute on it. And listen, I hope it is Mike Elias, but if it's not, I'm not going to lose any sleep. Like, it's time to start making use of this. You had the war chest of assets and that's starting to look like maybe it's drying up a bit. And now you got a war chest of cash coming in. You've got a blank check.
Yep.
Shout out to Beansy. So go ahead and start cashing in on that.
Great movie. That's just it's the second half. I mean, again, it's going to be an interesting second half. Trade deadline, obviously. I think there's 16 games. That's what O'Hearn was saying today at the press conference. But we'll see what they go into the offseason with, what ammo they have, and it's there's going to be a lot of takes thrown around if nothing happens in the offseason, and I don't think any of them will be like unwarranted. So
that stadium might be empty on opening day.
And again, I brought my sister. She lives in San Diego. She goes to a couple Padres games. And in like the fourth inning, she's like, where is everyone? And I was like, this is what happens when you have declined and are horrible and are getting your shit pushed in by the blonde bomber himself and the Marlins. Like, I'm at the bar and who's sitting there next to me having a drink? Brett Hollander. And he's like, this is tough. He was there with his family, and we were just two guys. We were two guys sitting at the end of the bar, just heads in our hands, being like, what happened? What is going on? It was a billion degrees. Yeah. It was awful. It was so
Brett, him and or I guess Jeff and Ben were on the call. I was listening to them a little bit. They're big fans of the Fish. They kept saying the Fish about the Marlins, which you don't really hear that a ton, but I always enjoyed that. So.
It's a fun nickname. I can get down with that. Yeah, but that they got their asses kicked in front of not many people. I think it was like 20. I don't know how many people were there, but it was disappointing. It was upsetting. It was funny when Laureano hit the home run to go down 11-1, and everyone was like very sarcastically clapping. And Joe goes, "Oh, the Orioles won." I was like, "Well, actually, hon."
Well, actually, Chris Paul hits huge 3-pointer to cut the lead to 42.
The guy in front of me turns around and goes, touchdown and a field goal. And we're right fucking back in this thing.
Yep, exactly. Just 2 scores.
Yeah, it was good. But Mets series, Marlins series. Boom. We will. You said it. You talked about it too earlier. But shout out to Trevor Rogers. He was a lot of fun to watch pitch, and I still stand by. I think if I've been very pro Manzolino, I think he butchered that game. Obviously, he's not the reason they scored 0 runs. But I think if you leave Trevor Rogers in instead of bringing Soto in to face Stowers looked so uncomfortable facing Rogers, just like not a good at bat, not confident, not comfortable, and he taking him out right before. I don't know. I would have left him in. I think he was at like 99 pitches. All-Star break is 2 days away. I think you let him go. So
yeah, I agree.
That was kind of disappointing, but
yeah, that would have been nice to see him. And it's been really cool to watch Rogers. Like I can't understate that or overstate that, however you would say it. Like, and his comments about walking off to the standing ovation, like it just seems like a guy who's just been through a lot of shit mentally, and like to see somebody kind of overcome all that, even despite the fact that you're not winning that game. And like, it's just kind of a crappy washout of a season where you're, 9 games below 500 right now. These are kind of the things that keep me coming back. So good on you, Trevor Rogers, and keep it up.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, he had great comments, and he was like, I took a lot of crap last year, and like, I saw it all. And he was like, he kind of echoed Rubenstein. He was like, I know this city wants to win. Like they want a winner real bad. So there you go. I thought that was cool though, that he's been very open about that. He was even in spring training and before that in the offseason, he was very open about that. So, would be very, I think we were talking, who was it? Ryan Blake, my buddy, Orioles fan problems, had a tweet and was like, 5 weeks ago, I think after the Red Sox game, was like, what if Trevor Rogers pitches to like a 2.7 ERA? And he was like, this may be like a worst case scenario thing. Like,
yeah,
he's like, I may be upset if Trevor Rogers ends the season with a 2.7 or something like that. But it was very funny. So he's shoving right now. People want him in the All-Star game because Jacob Mizorowski's in it. And
the Miz.
I love that. I'm a big fan of that.
Somebody was popping off.
I'm a sucker for a good story,
Who was like popping off saying it was like Savannah Bananas? Like
that was the Castellanos in the Phillies. The Phillies were like, Trey Turner was dropping F-bombs. He was a joke.
Trey Turner. Yeah, those guys were pissed. I was like,
also because the Phillies gave the $50K bonus to Christopher Sanchez, who's been awesome. He's been very good. You want to talk about participation trophy shit? That's participation trophy.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, good on them for doing that. I'm a pro player in that instance, but like, come on.
It's an all-star. It's an entertainment. That's why I thought it's cool. I thought it was a very, very cool story. But put Trevor Rogers in too if the Miz is going to be in. So,
agreed. I mean, literally, it is a participation trophy because everybody gets one no matter what.
Well, and we're getting into that now. We're in the like the NFL where it's like we're getting Tyler Huntley like guys in because it's like, oh, this guy's out and this guy's out and this guy Julio Rodriguez is picked to go and then he's like, no, I'm good, and all these guys. So like we're ending up with people you've legitimately never heard of like making the All-Star team. It's like, okay, this is maybe that's lost its luster.
Just make it like a rookie young player showcase. Make it like a before guys in arbitration or whatever, so they can raise their value up, or just younger guys, because
maybe it should be like an all-star game for guys who have never made an all-star team.
Yeah, sure.
Like we know Aaron Judge is very good. We know that. Like we know Manny Machado is awesome, but like, let some of the other guys. I don't know. But then it sucks because again, the Hall of Fame voting comes down to it, and these jerk off reporters will be like, well, you didn't make an all-star team. It's like, because the fans picked, because Eric and a bunch of his buddies were stuffing ballots for Ryan O'Hearn. Like, come on. But anyways, I digress.
Yeah.
Bad ballpark scene yesterday. Bad. Good
stuff. Well, we don't have to talk about it anymore if you don't want to. Anything else from tonight's show?
Again, the draft. I mean, the draft I'm interested in, but I don't know nearly enough about any of these guys. I like bookmarked some tweets and all that. Because I wanted to at least have something, but again, I don't know anything about these guys, so I don't want to pretend it. Player manager voted thing, I like that too. I think it should be backward. I think it should be backwards of what they do, because the fans vote in these starters, and then the players and the managers pick the reserves. I think it should be the other way. Like I think the manager should pick that. But I'm trying to see. So this was, I don't know, Jay Grill. Orioles have taken 10 pitchers over the last 12 rounds, 12 pitchers amongst the last 17 going back to the second round. So they're loading up on the pitchers, is what it seems like. And I think a majority of them are college guys, which again, they're a little more along in the process and farther removed. I'm trying to see what else. I just have so many. I'm trying to see. Dang it.
I mean, like of these top guys, it's like it is interesting that you go Irish and Bodine, both catchers at the top there, but Irish obviously has some outfield, like he could, maybe conceivably play the field. I'm not sure like what his dominant position is, but
I think they said he broke his scapula. He was hit by a pitch as a catcher, and then they moved him to right. I think I think I read he played 12 games at catcher and like 47 in the outfield.
Yeah.
So, but apparently they were like, it's his bat. That is why they drafted him. I think he raked in the Cape Cod League. Yeah, but I'm still just scrolling. It's a lot of Nadeau stuff in my life. It's Nadeau, Teddy Bridgewater, and Orioles draft stuff.
What a 24 hours on Twitter.
They got this guy Caden Hunter from USC, lefty, 6th round pick. Welcome back, Randy Johnson. Strikes out a lot of guys, 25% strikeout rate. Fastball's up to 95, changeup, slider. This is from The Verge. The Orioles MILB podcast, by far the best at doing anything draft related.
I was going to say, like we say that nobody knows these things. Like those guys, like if you actually want to know about like this type of stuff, those guys are on top of it. So check them out. Shameless plug.
They kill it. It's great. Again, I'm slowly getting down there, but yeah, it's I don't know as nearly as much as I should about these guys, but it was cool seeing Ethan Holiday get drafted 4 to the Rockies, where his dad was.
Yeah, too bad he didn't wind up in Washington. I thought that would have been a fun story.
People, Nats fans too, are like, we're 6 years into this rebuild and we're drafting the youngest first overall pick ever. Like, they had a college-ready pitcher sitting right there, and they did not take him. So folks are not happy with that, which I can understand. This is the guy, Cade Bodine, I think his name is, right? The guy from
Bodine, yeah,
who apparently is by far the best catcher, they said in college. And again, people were kind of reading into like, oh my God, they drafted
that was the MLB executive burner, definitely not Mike Elias tweeting this is a we're over you pick to Adley Rutschman.
Yeah.
Irish. It's like, all right, yeah, pipe down person pretending to be Mike Elias on this burner account. Like,
but again, they were like, the baseball draft, you draft for the best available. Like, that's just what
literally like you say to do that in the NFL, but a lot of teams don't because you need instant impact. Like in baseball, like the earliest these guys are going to be here is like 2 years. And that's like the earliest possible scenario. So
yeah,
you again, actually do have to do that.
There were people who were like, that's Adley, like they're going to trade him this year. And it's like, no, they're not. That's not the Ravens drafting a quarterback in the second round being like, you better do something, Lamar. Like, that's not how this works. Even again, he's a college pitcher or college hitter, but I thought this was interesting. This is from Matt Pepin. I think he's a Coastal Director of Analytics. Of the 444 pitches Caden Bodine saw inside the strike zone, he swung and missed at just 12. So that seems pretty good. Again, the shortstop from Arkansas seems awesome. 45 hitting, 55 power, 50 run, 50 fielding, 50 arm on the 80 scale. So here, this is funny too. Some chick tweeted this, Danielle Katz. MLB reactions are just, I'm mad about them drafting this guy I didn't know existed 20 minutes ago because some random MLB writer I've never heard of rated him lower than he was drafted. Why didn't they draft a player that can contribute now? And then parentheses, that doesn't exist. Like,
kind of reminded me of like when we were, me, you, and I think Ryan was there too, when Jackson got drafted. We're like, oh man, Drew Jones, like, which one of these, Tamar Johnson or whoever, like which one of these guys, and little Jackie. And we were all kind of like the Miami Dolphins fan, like, oh, okay. Like
I had
picked an like
4 blogs written that night for Brooks Lee, Tamar Johnson, Elijah Green, and Drew Jackson. And I did not write one about Jackson. And now Drew Jones is hitting 250 in high A, and Jackson is batting 260, 270 in the bigs with 12 home runs. Yeah, Johnny, unless you're the Angels just bring up guys like that. So, yeah, unless, that guy from Michigan State's the earliest that the O's have drafted a pitcher under Elias. And I'm trying to go back to yesterday. It's still a lot. But again, it seems like they're crushing the draft. I don't want to say that, but it seems like everybody is saying that this is a very good draft. And so it's like, all right, that's one box you can check, Mike, but there's a lot of work to be done with the pitching side and getting pro guys who can throw strikes and get outs and getting this team, the thing turned back around. The guy I was talking to yesterday was like, man, we were so close. Like 2023, he said we were, and he was like, you win that first game against the Rangers, if Gunnar doesn't get thrown, if the hit and run is on and Aaron Hicks, laces one down the line and Gunnar goes first to third or something, he's like, who knows, man? Who knows what's happening right now? But he was like, I don't know how we got knocked off the schedule. We were on the track and we got knocked off it. And I don't know. It's this is one way, again, you got to hit the draft and you got to win it and get back through it, but there's still work to be done and the O's have a lot of it to do. So we'll see. Slap in the face this first half, slap in the face to them. So I hope they're woken up now. So we'll see.
Yeah. I don't think we have thought we'd be sitting here closing out the first half recap with a slap in the face, 9 games under 500. I feel like you maybe could have foreseen some dark clouds with some of the injury stuff and lack of investment in the offseason, but I don't know if we thought it would be this bad and in some of the humiliating fashion that it's been. But there have certainly been some bright spots. Jackson Holiday obviously being the big one for me. I think we've mentioned Rogers on this episode, seeing his arc, even some of these other guys. I mean, Morton.
Yeah.
Him turning it around. I mean, like the way that we had already turned on him and then he kind of turned things back around, and he's been a class act throughout all of it. So shout out to that guy. And yeah, Jordan Westberg, when he's been healthy, been just a joy to watch as always. Gunnar Henderson quietly having a good season, even though it looked like it was maybe down in the dumps a little bit. And like, man, I just like for the second half of the season, I just pray for as much health as you can possibly get out of this crew, just to assess where you're really at, whether you make the playoffs or not. I just really like to see them give it a good college try. Don't ship off too many players. If you've got to do what you've got to do, I get it. But like, let's give it a real good, honest shot with this group and see what you can do.
Well, and again, I think they will. I mean, why would they not? Like they were for better, lack of a better term. I mean, they tanked for a long time to get these guys. So it's like now that's why, like, I don't understand though people being like, well, Elias doesn't care about winning. He just wants the draft picks. And it's like, why? That's not how a job works. Like, that's not how a GM job in baseball works. So I don't know. But they've got to get it back on the right track. And I guess nailing the draft, quote unquote, knock on wood, whatever is the way to do it. And that's one way, but like I said, I don't want to unload too many guys. The guys who were Hearn, maybe, I still don't know. Mullins, maybe, who knows? Sagano, I know Nightingale said Sagano, Eflin, and Morton, I think are the big trade targets for the Orioles. So we'll see. And O'Hearn said it again today to the media, like we have 16 games left. I think he said something like we have 16 games left to like go on a miracle run and like really make something happen. So 13-3 coming right out of the gate. Let's
say that number just keeps getting smaller and smaller. I've been hearing that like since Spenny was talking about that, 10-game win streak,
Why can't they just win 20 games in a month? Like just win 20. What are they doing?
It's easy. Literally just go win the game. Why is it so hard, guys? Jeez.
I don't know what got into Spenny that night.
That was weird. Yeah.
That was very weird.
He's had a lot of weird stuff going on lately. I hope his mentals are right as rain for football season here, because it's coming up soon.
It's like, why can't the Ravens just go 16-1? Why not? Like
he picked them to go like 15-1 last year. I don't know if you were tracking that, but he was like, yeah. Well, it was funny because we were going into that Chiefs game. They were playing the Chiefs in week 1. And he's like, yep, I've got them going. Like it was either 14-2 or 15-1, whatever it would be with like the records now. And then like we get into that week 1 preview and I'm like, yep. And I am picking the Ravens to lose. And he's like, yeah, I'll probably pick them to lose too. I'm like, well, don't you have them losing like 1 game here? He's like, yeah, you're right. Maybe I'll have to revisit that. I don't know. It's
what a guy.
God, he's just the best. He's why I keep coming back.
Yeah. Spenny's the one that keeps us coming. So Johnny said it there. A bunch of guys going on rehab after the break too. So we'll see. We will see what happens. Deadline rapidly approaching. So
rest ice, compression, elevation. Almost forgot the last bit there. But get it all healed up. Do what you got to do. Get that soft tish, guys, as Will Compton would say. Let's get that fixed. Can't win games in the training room. So
no, can't. Best ability is availability. So
absolutely. All right. Well, appreciate everyone hanging with us here tonight. Appreciate you recapping that game, that first half, and everything with me, my friend, as we get ready to go off and watch the home run derby. If you liked what you heard, subscribe to us here on YouTube. Tell a friend about us and tell them to subscribe too. Share us on social media. You can find us at Exit52 Podcast on X, the everything app. I'm at Jake Louque. That's Louque. Eric is at EDITTI22. Spenny at Ravens 4 Dummies. That is the number 4. Ryan at Barstool Banks. Taylor at Taylor Smyth 10. Find us on Instagram as well at Exit52 Podcast 2, where we post clips of the show, all that good stuff. Get all the content pumping out there. So we'll see you there. We'll see you here. We'll see you on X, and we'll talk to you very, very soon.
Go listen to the Ryan O'Hearn interview too.
Yep, please do. That was actually let me plug that real quick. Great job by you running that one solo. Eric sat down with Ryan O'Hearn for half an hour ahead of, or I guess it was ahead of last weekend, if I'm correct in that.
I think it was the game. It was Tuesday. It was the Mets,
Tuesday, right?
Yeah, it was the morning of the first Mets game.
Right. Yeah. So ahead of this past week, or last week, I should say. And they got into some good stuff, kind of talking about, what an interesting journey Ryan has had to get to the Orioles in the first place, making the All-Star team. And just like I said it earlier in the season, just like a total like throwback Oriole. Like I feel like this guy would have fit in that 2014 ALCS championship team like a freaking, like a fit that team like a glove. Just love watching him play. Hope he sticks around for the long term, and we'll have fun watching him on Tuesday night here. But in the meantime, check out that interview also live on our YouTube and pod platforms if you haven't already. In the meantime, you guys have a good rest of your week, and we'll talk to you again very, very soon.
See you.
Arrivederci.